What if the hardest person you would ever lead is yourself? What if the battles you fight, are not external? What if the Goliath that you're facing in your life is not the outside circumstances, but it is within you, in your inner self? Today we are going to discuss about the battle within. And we are going to make reference to the story of Moses and the story of Alexander the Great to understand and to reference historical figures of how humans, not just today, but since the beginning of time, have always struggled with identity and knowing themselves. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Proverbial Mind podcast. It is your host again, Samuel. And if you're here for the first time, do not hesitate to subscribe, hit the notification button, like our videos, and share it if you like what you're seeing. You can also follow us on Instagram to get daily motivation, weekly motivation that you can use to start up your day and your time. And sit back and enjoy this ride, and I hope that you stick to the end and you'll love it. So, we are talking about the battle within. When the word battle is mentioned, what does that mean to you? It could mean war, it could mean in the ancient times, it could mean nations conquering nations or certain individuals going to conquer lands and acquiring zones and territories for themselves. And it could also mean the internal struggle that we face. Your mind, your external self fighting with your internal self. The societal reality fighting with whom you have been destined to be. It is no surprise today that a lot of people out there in the world don't know their identity. They don't know who they are. They don't know where they even stand in the grand scheme of things and of society. This is not surprising because when you look toward history, it has always been a consistent factor that humans struggle with identity, struggle with who they are, struggle with themselves because there's a lot of standards that you have to reach up to. Today, this is the trend. Tomorrow, that's the trend. There's a lot of advices. There's a lot of status quo paradigm. There's a lot of ways that is being sold out there on how to live your life and how not to live your life. There's a lot of things and parameters that society use to measure us on, oh, if you're this, if you're that, you're successful. If you don't have this, if you don't have that, you're not successful. And so as time goes on, we let that child in us. Have you ever thought about this? When you were a kid, you were free to do whatever you want. You never questioned yourself. You never even think twice before you do things. When you start to walk, you fall many times, you make mistakes. You don't even care what people think or do. You're just a free soul, free human being. You do whatever it is you want to do without fear of embarrassment, fear of judgment, without critics or criticism from people and society. But as time goes on, you realize that that confident, fearless person, that naive kid who was free and able to do whatever it is they want to do from childhood, has grown up to be someone who is anxious, who is always second guessing themselves, who's always doubting and questioning themselves before they even make any decision. And sometimes the education system and the way at which society label and judge individuals today does not even help with that crisis. There are many ways at which we label ourselves today. Having the right job, having the perfect body, driving the nice car, having the nice clothes, a lot of things that we use to measure ourselves today. When you make mistakes, the world mocks you. But when you win, the world celebrates and clap for you. Yet, forgetting that before you actually got to that winning position, you had to make a lot of mistakes. You are being told as a child, do this, don't do that. Do this, don't do that. When you do this, this will happen to you. When you don't do that, that will happen to you. As time goes on, all of these codes are being wired into your head. Maybe you make mistake one time and everybody laugh at you, or somebody, your parent or whatsoever, beat you or criticized you. And then as time goes on, you start doubting yourself. Or maybe you've always been a judgmental place or environment that never allows room for growth or creativity without judging. Or maybe you've said something or tried to create something new or bring a new idea and everybody laughs at it. And ever since that time, you thought you were dumb. You thought you were not like everyone else. But the reality of the fact is, every single human on this earth are created for a specific and unique purposes. We are all different. Nobody was ever designed to be like somebody else. No matter what you do, you can never be like me. And no matter what I do, I can never be like you. I can never recreate you in my own self, and you can never recreate me in my own self. That's what makes me me, and that's what makes you you. Hence, the hankering, the security in who you are. Now, how do you face these battles? The battle we face today is not even the battle with war. It's the battle of comparison with societal standards. It's the battle of feeling less of ourselves because we look at another person, our neighbor or whatsoever, and we think that we are doing worse than them, or we think that we don't have what they have, or we think that we are not as successful as they are. Hence, we are not worth it, or something about us is lacking. These battles always stem from comparison. You don't feel enough. You don't feel like you're worth it. You don't feel like you're capable. I'll take you through the story of Moses. Sometimes your heritage, the place you come from, your story, your background, your family lineage can actually place a mark, a scar on your mind that limits you all your life, making you doubt yourself and question yourself every time. Let's look at the life of Moses. Moses was an Hebrew kid that was bettered in Egypt. Now, the people of Israel, as those of you that know the Bible and Scripture very well, God has always likened the people of Israel as his children, his firstborn. And during the time of famine in Canaan, Joseph, before then, was exiled by his brothers into Egypt because of jealousy. They sold him as a slave to the Egyptians. And God helping him, he rose to power while in Egypt. During the period of Joseph's reign in Egypt, there was famine all over the world, including in Canaan. This led Joseph to invite his brothers. At first, his brothers, whom their father was Jacob, sent them to Egypt to buy food for them and their family and bring it back home. If you want to learn the story of Joseph, I had covered it in a initial episode. You can go, but for the sake of time, I wouldn't go deep into Joseph's story. I'm just going to touch it a little bit. But Joseph was sold into slavery in Egypt because his brothers were jealous of him, of his vision. And as a result of that, the Lord helped Joseph, and Joseph became the prime minister of Egypt. And a time happened in Egypt, in Canaan, where Jacob, the father of Joseph, and Joseph's other 11 brothers lived. And all of them had to go to Egypt to live there. This was an invitation by Joseph after his brothers has come to Egypt to buy food beforehand. Now, the Egypt, Joseph's father Jacob and his brothers lived in Egypt and became a large people, becoming the nation called Israel. Israel was formed in Egypt. Now, a Pharaoh came after the Pharaoh whom Joseph had served with. Now, this Pharaoh did not know Joseph. And as a result of that, he had no regard for Joseph, nor did he have any regard for God. And so, because of the people of Israel had increased in number and might, he decided to enslave them and force them into forced slavery because of the fear that they could overpower them and overthrow the Egyptians. Now, Moses was the descendant of Jacob, who was the father of Joseph. Jacob had 12 children. There came a time in Egypt where the current Pharaoh at the time of Egypt saw that the Egyptians were increasing in number. The Israelites were increasing in number. As a result of that, he was afraid as the fact that these people could overpower us and outnumber us. Let us kill their first, or every male child. Let us kill them. That way we can subdue them and prevent them from overthrowing us in our nation. As a result of this, Pharaoh gave an order that every male child born among the Hebrews, which are the same as the Israelite, must be killed. Joseph's mother, knowing this, tried to save her child and took Moses' mother, knowing this, tried to save her child and took Moses to the riverbank. She kept him in a basket and left him there. Now, the daughter of Pharaoh one day was going to the riverbank with her maids to take a bath. There she saw a child in the basket, and the child was crying. This child was Moses. Then the Pharaoh's daughter said, "This must be one of the child of the Hebrews." Then Moses' sister happened to be there. And then she came immediately to Pharaoh's daughter and said, "Hey, I know the mother of this kid. How about I bring the mother to you? That way she can help you nurse this child." And Pharaoh's daughter agrees to this. This was a strategy by Moses' sister to ensure that the child was safe. Eventually, Moses became the adopted son of Pharaoh's daughter, and he became part of Pharaoh's family. He grew up. And so one day, he saw one of the Egyptians beating the Hebrews. He, knowing deep down within himself that he was an Hebrew, he had the zeal to vindicate his people and to bring them out of slavery. As a result of that, he went to kill that Egyptian that was beating and maltreating the Hebrew, which is the Israelite. And then he left. It came another time one day where Moses find two Israelites, that is the Hebrews, fighting themselves. And then he said, "Why are you guys fighting each other? Are you not fellow Israelites?" Then the Israelite that was beating the other Israelite said, "Oh, so you want to try to kill me now, like you killed the other Egyptian." This made Moses so afraid and lost security in himself. In his mind, he has thought, "I thought I did something good. I was trying to fight for my people. I was trying to do the right thing in his own mind." But the same people he was trying to fight for condemned him. And so he ran away from Egypt. The Pharaoh at the time hearing what Moses had done, then sent men to kill him, but eventually they couldn't find him. Now, Moses was moving one day in Midian, there in the, you call it the wilderness, and then he saw a burning bush. He was intrigued by this sight, and then he went over to the burning bush. And while he got to the burning bush, he heard a voice that told him to stop and to take off his sandals, for where he was standing was on holy ground. And he was terrified, because how can a burning bush be talking? And then the Lord began to speak to him and tell him that he has seen the oppression of his people, the Israel, in the land of Egypt. And as a result, he was going to send Moses to save them out of that oppression and slavery. And Moses was like, what do you mean? These people, even my people I'm trying to save, they don't even value what I done. They condemned me, and now Pharaoh is trying to kill me. Who am I to go stand before Pharaoh? And the Lord told him that he was going to go with him. But Moses could not. Moses kept giving excuses that, oh, he couldn't speak well, he's not good at speech. And what would he even tell the Israelites that sent him? He said, pardon me, Lord, choose someone else. Moses had lost total confidence and security in himself. He did not believe in himself nor his ability, because he had been condemned by the society because of an action that he had done, that he had thought he was trying to vindicate his people. Now, what he did was probably not the wisest way to approach that situation. Trying to separate two people from fighting does not mean you kill the other person. That is wrong. That is an act of violence. There perhaps should have been a better way that Moses would have handled the situation instead of killing the Egyptians, which had made them condemn him. But because of all the other things that perhaps were not covered in that scripture, Moses lost confidence in himself and his ability, and would not even listen. The God of the world, of the universe, is telling you to go save his people, and he's going to empower you. But he said he can't go. Eventually, he tried to persuade God to choose someone else, but God would not listen to him. God said, fine, I'm going to send your brother Aaron with you, whom is good in speech. I will make Aaron your prophet, and I'll make you like God to Aaron. Moses was still grumbling, not because he was being rebellious, but because he had zero confidence in himself. He has lost total confidence in himself. But eventually, he will later give in. And for those of us who have read the book of Exodus, you've seen the mighty wonders that the Lord did through Moses over time. And how he led a whole nation, someone who had no confidence in himself. I want you to see yourself in the eyes of Moses. See that God has created you for a great destiny, a great future, a great life. Something that society has never heard before, or even heard, thought about, or known about. Are you going to let the judgment of people tell you who you are and what you are and what you are not? Have you forgotten that the day you came to this earth, you came with nobody? You didn't take permission from any soul before you came to this earth. It was at the will of God, the universe, that you were bettered into this world. No one knew you when you were young and a kid. No one ever seen you before. No one knows the beginning to the end of your life. No one knew your destiny. And so if they were not there to plan your bet and to watch your coming, why should their opinion matter now in who you become and who your life and what your life should be? Friends, never ever look down on yourself. You are more than what you think you are. If the Bible says God has created man in his own image, I want you to look at this. God is the creator of the universe. God is the creator of all humans. Some people might call it the universe. Some people might call it the higher knowledge, whatever it is you want to call it. But that being, that supreme being, that knowledge behind all these things had created all of us. I know him to be God. It might be something else to you, but perhaps we're referencing the same person. If he creates you in your image, have you ever sat for a minute to look at the wonders in the world? Have you ever sat for a minute to look at the mystery in the sun, in the stars, and the moon? Have you ever sat for a minute to realize that the galaxy we currently are, the solar system we currently are, is one among billions out there, and this one person created them, and he said he has created you in his image? What does that mean? That you yourself have a creative power in you to do wonderful things like he has done. Have you not thought back to what civilization used to be 5, 10 centuries ago, and look at the advancement in technology today? It's the same humans that did it. Haven't that supposed to give you an evidence that there is indeed a creative power to do impossibilities that God has engraved in every human? Are you going to let the voice of the world silence that in you? I want you to arise today to the identity of who you truly are. You will fail in life, but I want you to know that failure is the starting point of success. Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times. The 10,001 time was the light bulb. If he had quitted, there would be no light in the world today. Realize that lives depend on you, on your journey, on you to actualize and to unveil that person whom God has destined you to be, that person whom the universe has created you to be. You have that potential in you. If you keep doubting yourself, having the fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, look at how many people you're going to let down. Look at how many generations that will come out of you that you're going to let down. You are crafted for more than you think you are. All you got to do is believe in yourself. Believe, believe, believe. Your mind is a powerful thing. You can use it to create your life or destroy your life. Say no to that voice in you that tells you are not enough. Silence that voice that tells you that you will fail. Tell the voice, I know I'm going to make mistake. I know I'm going to fail at some point, but I'm not going to quit. I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to get up back. No matter how many times I fall and fail, I will stand up and I will keep fighting until I win. Tell that voice in you that says, this is going to be your end. Let the voice know that you have been through more than this before and you survived. And you're just going to survive this one too. And you're going to come out alive and strong because God is with you. The book of Ephesians chapter 3 verses 20 says, now unto him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly more than you can ever ask or think about, according to his power at work in you. Anything is possible if you believe. Never ever look down on yourself. Never ever let the voice of society to drown you. Like I said, they were never there when you were created. They were never there when your mother nursed you in her belly for 9 months. They were never there when your mother nursed you for 1 year or 3 years before you started going to school. So who are they to define who you are? They were never there in your darkest struggle and your darkest pain. So who are they to label who you are? You alone decide who you are and who you're gonna be. by the decisions you make, by the habits you keep and the habits you do, by the things you do and don't do, by the books you read and don't read, by the people you hang around with and don't hang around with. Your actions dictates your life. Never ever look down on yourself. Yes, it's going to be a battle in your mind every day, but stand up every day like a warrior who is fighting for his or her destiny and life. And know that within you is the power to win every day. Some days you might lose, but that is not the end. The real champion is the one that failed no matter how many times, but still get back up and keep fighting. Because this life that you have is a gift, and I want you to treat it as such by valuing it and not letting the voice of society or societal standards drown you. I bet you today, if you're gonna die this second, you would not care what any single human being think about you. What you only care about is how you can extend your life for another maybe 5 days, couple days, and do the things that you had let atrophy to let you give up on, or to let you chicken out away from them. I tell you, if the doctor tells you you have 1 month or 2 days to live today, you would not even care about that person that laughed at you yesterday. You would not even care about that car, that house you don't have. All you care about is how can I extend my life? 1 second. Or how can I go and do the things that I thought, that I planned, I envisioned to do, but I didn't do because I was afraid. That is the only thing you think. So if that's the case, why should it all matter? The two major things that the soul of every human being desire is joy and happiness. But then when you realize it, do we ever truly get to the state of permanent happiness? No. You do everything you want. You buy the house, you buy the car, but it only gives you happiness and joy for maybe 2 months, 1 year, and then it doesn't feel enough anymore. You crave more, you become more sad. Find joy and happiness in yourself. It's a choice. And never let anyone tell you who you are and who you are not. It's your choice to decide who you are. If this has blessed you, I want you to hit the notification button below, to like this video and share it with someone who may be struggling too with themselves and who they are and their identity. Remember, you are more, and you are worth more than you think you are. No one defines you. No one decides for you on what your life will be. It's your choice. It's your choice. It might come like it can control you, but the truth is nothing can control you but you, by your actions. That is it, guys. If you have enjoyed this, make sure you share it with your friend or family, whoever it may be. And on to the next one. Peace out.